Are you stressed out? The world moves so fast these days, and almost everyone is feeling overwhelmed and stressed from work or school or home responsibilities, caretaking, relationships, financial stress, or some of us are even dealing with chronic illness. In part one of Help, I'm Stressed Out, I'm going to explain to you exactly what's happening in your body when you feel stressed. Hi, I'm Paige Pradko. I'm a therapist who specializes in treating people with anxiety disorders, health anxiety, OCD, and agoraphobia. Welcome to Therapy for a Better Life. Before I begin, I left you a link to a free PDF called Why Do I Feel That in My Body? And it's explanations of bodily symptoms due to anxiety, stress, and panic. And I left it in the description down below. Now, I was reading Dr. Harry Berry's book on anxiety and panic, and I learned some new information that I hadn't come across before about what happens in our body during panic or high anxiety versus when we're under chronic daily stress from life. It's very different. And I think that most of us can relate to that feeling of chronic stress. Let's face it, life can be stressful. Whether you're trying to get your coursework done, or you have deadlines at work, maybe you have some relationship issues going on, family responsibility, you might just have too many things on your plate and you feel exhausted. Well, our sympathetic nervous system, our fight, flight, or freeze response is activated, of course, when we feel panicked and anxious, but it's also activated when we're feeling stressed. Our stress response sets off a hormonal response that's activated by the hypothalamus in our brain and our pituitary gland. And when it's activated, hormones are sent into the bloodstream and they travel to two glands situated over the kidney, our adrenal glands. Then our adrenal glands then release what we call stress hormones. Now this is where it gets interesting. Our brain decides, based on how it's interpreting our physical and emotional state, what combination of stress hormones and how much of these stress hormones to release into our bloodstream. So I'm sure you've heard of adrenaline or epinephrine. This is the predominant hormone released during a panic attack or high anxiety. And it's released in large amounts when we encounter a sudden stressful situation where our brain interprets that, boy, we might need to flee, we might need to run out of there, right? The old tigers behind that bush over there response. Now, the symptoms we experience from an adrenaline rush include a pounding heart, difficulty breathing, stomach, digestive problems, maybe nausea, shaking, sweating, dry mouth, closing up in the throat, kind of the sensation in our throat or a lump in the throat, weakness, dizziness, sometimes tingling sensations, and feelings of fear and dread. Now, another stress hormone called noradrenaline or norepinephrine is released when we encounter a stressful situation, when we respond to it with anger or our impulse is to stay and fight. And then a third stress hormone called glycocortisol is the real culprit for many of us. The stress hormone cortisol is released in large amounts when we encounter a stressful situation that looks like it's going to take much longer. Now, the brain recognizes that you're dealing with this daily chronic stress, and it releases cortisol into your bloodstream to provide you with energy in the long run to deal with that stress. However, high levels of cortisol in our bloodstream cause symptoms like fatigue, poor concentration, feeling constantly wired or on edge, sleep difficulties, metabolic syndrome, and it makes our body more susceptible to infections and illness. Now, high levels of cortisol are also associated with chronic inflammation in the body. I think of the phrase kind of wired and tired when I think of cortisol. Now, don't forget I left you a free link to the PDF, Why Do I Feel That in My Body? Explanations of bodily symptoms due to anxiety, stress, and panic in the description below this video. And next week in part 2, this is really going to be an important video. I don't want you to miss it. It's where I'm going to cover 8 proven ways to lower that cortisol level caused by chronic stress. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss that one. Until then, I'll see you in session. Take care. Bye-bye.